And now it's time for Windy City Sports Talk. And your host, Ryan Young. Hello, Chicago! Welcome to this live Thursday, October the 20th edition of Windy City Sports Talk. I am Ryan Young. For the next half hour, we're going to recap and preview everything going on in the world of Chicago and other sports. If you want to follow me, at ringside_rep, Facebook, Ryan Young. You get it. Okay, you know where we're going to lead today. What a game last night. The Bats finally woke up for the Northsiders. 10 runs last night for this team. It started off with such a tremendous shot. Being able, first of course, you had the base hit that got Zobrist home. And then you have the, of course, he started off with the bunt. Then, of course, they get another one in on the grounder by Hayward, made it 2-0. Then Russell gets out of his skid, makes it 4-0. And then the wheels continue to turn after that for the Dodgers and the Cubs. Overall win this one of a final of 10-2. And the series is tied up, which guarantees weekend baseball at the friendly confines. And let's go. I mean, obviously, a lot of people are saying, well, this game, the momentum changed for this team following the Ben Zobrist bunt. Well, I think a lot of people also know where I think things were starting to go, okay, this is our game, grasp it. And that is the play at the plate with Adrian Gonzalez and the throw by Hayward. Jason Hayward, when he threw that ball, it just did not look good out of his hand. He knew it was Adrian Gonzalez. I believe he's thrown him out. I want to say it was him that threw him out before, but he did get thrown out at home again earlier in the series at Wrigley. And then of course, it was, as soon as I saw it, I didn't know by just seeing it, but of course, Angel Hernandez called him out. And then and then following that, then, of course, when they went to the review, and Joe Buck and John Smoltz, who called the game on Fox, are both like, okay, this is, he's safe, it's 1-0 Dodgers, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And then as soon as the umpires take the headset off after the review, they call him safe, and you heard Adrian Gonzalez in the dugout, he's like, well, don't blow this one, New York, or don't screw this one up, and then there was a lot of bleeping out on Fox, because, and they're good at it, because, of course, when you got microphones in a baseball dugout, you're going to hear a lot of not PG words. And you heard Dave Roberts drop the F-bomb, and probably everyone in that Dodger dugout dropped the F-bomb, but the cameras were right on them. And the Cubs got a major break there. You can you can't tell, but they could have easily, because, of course, you got to think Angel Hernandez, because if he calls that a safe, and Joe Madden challenges it stays safe, it's 1-0, and who knows where the momentum goes from there. And then the next half inning, Cubs get 4 runs. So you got to be thankful for that call. I said it on Twitter, Cubs need to take advantage, and they did. They did an extremely good job after that. You saw the confidence back by this offense. Now let's get into some other stuff, because apparently last night I was called, and I was speechless. It takes a lot to make me speechless, and it made me irritated. But the blood pressure was boiling. I believe he was saying it on a joking basis. He said it, but I take offense to it, and I'm going to talk about it here. I was called a bandwagon Cub fan. Listen, I will phrase this again. I have been going to games since 1997. I was 6 years old. And ever since then, my dad, and I'm going to have him tell this story tomorrow on Sunfather Friday, because he knows this. Everyone that knows me knows this. Not this story, but that I'm a Cub fan. But he took me up. It was the Cubs and Giants, 1997. I remember this like it was yesterday. He walks me up the stairs to Wrigley. If you have not been to Wrigley Field, that first time, no matter what stadium you go to, but especially Wrigley, you walk up them steps, you see the ambiance, the beauty of what that field represents. And that is, you see all the green, from the green ivy, the green grass. Just, you're in history. And at 6 years old, obviously, all that didn't come to me. But you fall in love with this game. You fall in love with this team. You hurt with this team. You are excited with this team. You feel like you're part of the team. That is what being a Cub fan is. I have, from 98, when Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire had the home run chase, that's where I fell in love with baseball. Sammy Sosa, I still think, even if he can't get in the Hall of Fame, he should be at least acknowledged by the Chicago Cubs. I don't care that he slammed down his CD player and walked out in 2004. You know what? People need to get over that. I mean, if the Cubs, no one's even there anymore from that. Bring them back. I think if they can do it this year or whenever they do it, I think they need to bring him back. But that's a separate story. From 1998, when the Sammy Sosa McGwire, when McGwire hit 70, Sosa hit 66. I don't want to talk about steroids because that's not what the point of this is. Then you have, of course, you go through the 99, the early 2000s, which kind of are a blur to me because I don't think nothing was really going their way at that time. I can't even think. I mean, John Lieber was there. I mean, from 2000. Okay, we're gonna fast forward that part, and then you get to 2003 when you get the great team that you get Alou and Sosa and Aramis Ramirez comes from Pittsburgh with Kenny Lofton and Randall Simon, I believe, was in that deal. And you feel like that was, and Kenny Lofton being lead-up man, by the way, he was at the game last night. They showed him on TV. He was in one of the suites. But you fall in love with that team. And guess what happened? They lose. And you can't handle it because Alex Gonzalez missed. And I mean, his life should be taken from, or not his life shouldn't be taken from him, but he should be the one that had to join witness protection, not Steve Bartman. And then 2004, you think maybe you can get back in that season, ends in a colossal failure from the guys up in the broadcast booth that had to get taken away or they had to quit because people on the team were offended, and then Sammy Sosa left, and then shit got crazy, and then of course Derek Lee became a Cub that year, and then you go through the Derek Lee and Aramis Ramirez and Alfonso Soriano years, where this team in 2007 and 2008 win the National League Central Division. 2008 I thought was the year. I was a senior in high school when that happened. And I'm like, this is the year. They get swept by the Dodgers. 2007, they got swept by the Diamondbacks. And you're like, oh, here we go again. And then everyone starts getting old, and Soriano and Aramis Ramirez and Derek Lee and everyone else, they leave. And then you reboot, and then you bring in Tom Ricketts buys the team. And then Theo Epstein comes in. And then they change everything. And they say, just wait, guys. Hold on. They have a chance. We're going to do this, but they're going to be patient. Well, then they come and they bring Rizzo in. And then they make the trade for Addison Russell. And they trade Jeff Samardzija away. And Soriano goes back to the Yankees. And they just do all these moves. And guess what you got? You got a Cubs team right now that you should be proud of. Any Cub fan that can say that they were confident going into that game last night is a complete liar. And David Kaplan, who I've supported a lot, calling Cub fans soft. No, it's not being soft. Because, like I just heard Brian Gumbel, who I didn't know was a Cub fan, talking on TV. You've seen this story before. You've seen this movie. You know the ending. That's what a Cub fan thinks. And if you go into them games thinking that you were going to win last night and that offense was going to score 10 runs, you are such a bullshitter. But to be called a bandwagon fan is probably one of the worst things I could be called. In 2007, 2008, they get eliminated. I was at high school in tears that they lost because you knew that I don't cry over anything. I cry over this team. I mean, I'm sure 2 wins away, if they can get it, I'll be in tears again. So to be called a bandwagon fan, when I went, my 21st birthday, I was at Wrigley Field with my ex-girlfriend. 21st birthday. The Cubs are facing the Mets. The Cubs lose 19-0. I stayed all 9 innings. Does that sound like a bandwagon fan to just sit there and be like, Scott Harrison hit a grand slam and all this other stuff happening? Does that sound like a bandwagon fan? No. I was brought up to love this team. That's exactly what I do. I support this team and everything that they've ever done. Do I get mad and frustrated with this team? Of course. That's what you're supposed to do. I have a right to my opinion. But don't sit there and say, oh, you give up. I never give up. Do I bitch and moan? Constantly. Am I a pessimist like I was called today? Abso-frickin-lutely. Because I constantly think the worst. Because that's what you do when you're a Cub fan. If you're not a Cub fan, you do not understand that. Because you don't live with the night in and night out constant things that have happened to this team over the years. Like last year running into that Mets pitching staff, it was a young team. Guess what? They have more experience this year. And I've said it and of course, I've sounded like I've given up, and I said Anthony Rizzo seems like Helen Keller at the plate. Of course he did. Because he did. He went and struck out the first 2 times last night, and then he comes around and does exactly what you'd think he would do. He becomes Anthony Rizzo, even with Matt Caesar's bat. So this team, obviously, and I've said it, and I can't say it enough, I revolve my life around this team. If there's someone that asks me to do something, in the summer, not so much, I make sure to see if the Cubs are playing. You know what I'm an exact comparison of? Jimmy Fallon in the movie Fever Pitch. That is me in a Cubs way. That is 100% me. She asks, we're gonna go on a flight, we're gonna go on a vacation to Paris. I can't, the Mariners are in town this weekend. That's exactly how I would be with the Cubs. Because you get that. It's just a Cub, and if you're not a Cub fan, you can't understand it. And I'm sure it's the same way I'm the Cardinals, but it's just, you expect the worst being a Cub fan. And last night was all of a sudden the bats woke up, and I think that the excitement came back. And now, instead of sitting there, I've argued with Cub fans. I haven't even argued with anyone that's not a Cub fan. Let's band together, cheer this team on, and get them back to Chicago with a 3-2 lead tonight. And then let's talk. Because this team has a possibility to be 1 win away from something they have not done in almost probably anyone that's listening's lifetime. So let's enjoy this. What a job by Anthony Rizzo. What a job. John Lackey, stupid press conference. That never shut. He did pretty well. I think they pulled him again early. Hopefully Lester can go the distance. Now the other question is about, the whole Rizzo. Rizzo finally gets out of it. Russell got out of it. They were getting hits for the rest of the game. Great. That is what you like to see, because that's what this team does. Yeah, everyone complaining about it. Guess what? That's exactly what the Cub fans do. Okay? They just bitch and moan. It's what every sports city does. Let's get back on this game. But I'm obviously very taken aback by being called a bandwagon fan. I've never been that. I support my two top teams are the Cubs and the Bulls. And I just say it like it is. I'm a realist. Ask my sister. I talk about this all the time. I am a realist. I will tell you how I feel. I am appalled by the Chicago Bulls front office, and I hate Jerry Reinsdorf. I hate Gar Forman. But do I still root for the team? Of course, I'm a fan. God damn it. Anyway, so Rizzo does, and what a class act by Rizzo. They showed Angel Hernandez after Rizzo walked to first, and it was a called strike 2. The next at bat, I believe it was, he came up, and he's able to, and he apologizes, class act, and even Angel Hernandez said, now for you folks that don't know about Angel Hernandez, and I'm going to post it on Facebook right now if I can find it, is the Angel Hernandez has had history with the Cubs before, because it was Steve McMichael, Mongo McMichael, threatened an umpire at a Cub game, and he said he was wanted to kick him out. And it was Angel Hernandez. So I want to share that right now. But it was good to see the Cubs be able to get it. Steve McMichael was toasted. I want to say he had his birthday was just this week. And I'm going to post that on Facebook right now, and I'm going to see if I can get it on here, and it's about a minute long. See if I can get it here on Windy City Sports Talk. But so I think that the Cubs got that advantage. They were able to take care of it. They did a great job. And I think hopefully they'll be able to continue to do that. I think the bats now are hot. Now, the people say, you want to save for 10 runs. You know what? You don't want it. I think these bats are ready now. They're ready to pounce, and I think they're hungry. They know that they were done, but if they wake up now, if they're waking up just now for the rest of this postseason run, watch out, Dodgers. Watch out, Cleveland Indians, because this is not what the Indians wanted to see last night. Indians wanted to see this team down and out, because the Dodgers really aren't hitting the cover off the ball last night either, or in this series. So let's see if I can really quick get out. So the Cubs win 10-2. Great, congratulations. It's 2-2. Big game tonight. We'll get into that later. Also, congratulations to the Cleveland Indians. What a job by them. To be able to shut out the Blue Jays 3-0, and they advanced to the World Series for the first time since 1995 or 1997. And then they will host Game 1 of the World Series Tuesday night from Cleveland against the Cubs or Dodgers, the same night the Cleveland Cavaliers do their ring and banner ceremony. And I believe, according to Tony, they're facing the Knicks. Which, of course, the Derrick Rose situation, I don't know if I really want to get into that either. But I think interesting. I think it's going to be great for the city of Cleveland. I mean, they've suffered for years. Browns are obviously toast. But I think to have the Indians there, I think Indians-Cubs would be fun. But the Cubs still need 2 more wins. Now, did they knock the wind out of the Dodgers' sail? That's something that's something that's going to be interesting. So I'm going to try to get this before we go to the Windy City Sports Minute. But again, great pitching performance yesterday by the Indians. This team was confident. This team really nailed it, I think. I think, again, this team they're hungry, and they got it. And for all the talking Jose Bautista did, and he said that the starting pitcher was going to be shaking in his boots. Well, after the game, the Indians posted a picture of cowboy boots with a champagne bottle in it. And Jose Bautista, I believe he's done as an Indian after this. He's going to, or done as a Blue Jay. He's going to be a free agent, and I think even though he's one of the most hated players, the Indians are the Blue Jays are one of the most hated teams in baseball. So I think, not sure where he's going to go, and I don't know if Toronto, if he leaves Toronto, I don't think Toronto's going to be very good. So I think that's going to be some problems. Before the Windy City Sportsman, this is from, not sure what year, but Steve Mongo McMichael, former Bear, obviously, former wrestler also. Angel Hernandez was the home plate umpire, made a bad call, and this was his, let's see if I can get it. Here we go.
I'll have some speech with that home plate umpire after the game.
He blows him a kiss. And then Angel Hernandez is just looking at him.
Would you believe that after he led the fans in song, the umpire had McMichael ejected from the ballpark? So he wasn't there to see what happened in the last of the ninth with the game tied and the Cubs having runners on first and second, 1 out, and pinch hitter Joe.
Well, anyway, I didn't know that was a whole thing, but it was but yeah, and then Angel Hernandez ejected Steve McMichael. I didn't know, I guess you can eject fans, but Steve McMichael had a beer in his hand. But anyway, I think it's a funny moment. And that was Angel Hernandez. So maybe he was giving one back to the Cubs after kicking out Mongo a couple probably over 10 years ago. Okay, we still got a preview. It's Bear Packer Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. That's the back page of the paper today. And we'll still talk about that. Also, Game 5 coming up. Cubs and the Dodgers. Big Game 5. We'll get into all that with 10 minutes left. But first, the Windy City Sports Minute. This is your Windy City Sports Minute for Thursday, October the 20th. Well, when the Cubs thought, and fans definitely thought, that the bats weren't going to show up, boy, did they ever in game number 4, as the Cubs even the series at 2, winning 10-2. The two struggling guys, Anthony Rizzo and Addison Russell, both going yard. Series even at 2, game 5 tonight. John Lester versus Kenta Maeda, 7 p.m. Fox Sports 1. Congratulations to the Cleveland Indians. They finish off the Toronto Blue Jays in win of a final of 3-0 yesterday afternoon. They await the Cubs or the Dodgers next Tuesday night from Progressive Field. And of course, the Bears-Packers, the rivalry that everybody loves, the most hated rivalry in the NFL, continues tonight at 7:30 on CBS and NBC, or on the NFL Network. That is all tonight as the Bears try to get 1-5, try to get something going. That is your Windy City Sports Minute. Now back to Windy City Sports Talk. Welcome back here to Windy City Sports Talk. In some other news, of course, the Derrick Rose situation. It looks like they're going to be cleared of all the charges. They could still take it to federal court, and he could possibly serve jail time, but apparently that's highly unlikely. So, yeah. So I don't understand. I mean, it's just, now it just kind of seems like Derrick Rose is a freak. And now when you get a little behind the curtain, you never know what you're going to hear. And you've heard a lot about, you've heard a lot of weird things about what happened and a sex belt and all that. But I don't know, as the Knicks get ready to try to, the Chicago Bulls East, I guess you can say, try to do their thing. And like I said, I believe they start Tuesday night against the Cavs. It's basketball getting ready to tip off next week. Bulls will tip off a week from tonight at home against the Celtics, Rajon Rondo's former team. So we'll get into depth next week, even if the Cubs make it or not, because if they make it, that will be the travel day Thursday night. So we'll do a little recapping and then previewing, but we still got a lot of stuff to talk about before we get to next Thursday. We got Bears-Packers tonight from Lambeau in Green Bay. That game will be on CBS and the NFL Network. I posted a Facebook post earlier today, Windy City Sports Talk poll, and I asked, what are you watching tonight, Cubs or Bears? Now, obviously, a lot of Bear fans are probably Cub fans are Bear fans normally, and a lot of Bear fans are probably also Cubs and Sox fans. So, I mean, I got the response of Bears because obviously the Sox aren't playing tonight, and so I get a lot of that. And I also got a lot of reaction about how I'm negative towards my teams. Have you seen the Bears this year? They are dreadful. That game last week against Jacksonville, or for a Sunday, was a nail in the coffin for this team to have any potential of being of anything this year. So if you could think that they can lose to Jacksonville at home and 4 days later beat the Packers at Lambeau, you're out of your mind. Now I'm hoping for it. I feel an upset. I actually bet against the Bears. And the bet is per point differential. So if the Bears lose by 20, I get $20. Weren't they down by like 40 one time at half a couple of years ago? But everyone's reverting this back to last Thanksgiving. The Bears were in a better place last Thanksgiving. I don't think they were good, but they only had one win. So I don't think this is going to be a game that the Bears, they'll come out and play well, but I think you'd actually feel more confident with Jay Cutler and a healthy Bear team. Now, this team will be healthy down the line, I think, following the bye. Kevin White, I think, will be back, hopefully. And then you'll also have Jay Cutler back. And maybe this team will be able to have some. But at that point, you want to lose games, get a good draft pick, and see you next year. So, again, that's what Cub fans were always thinking at the end of the season. It's not the end of the season. The Bears have a late bye this year. But you still, I think, want to... You don't think draft pick till the end. So, the Bears can go out there and win tonight. You're facing the Packers at a vulnerable time. Dallas comes in on Sunday and plays them exceptionally well and beats them in Lambeau. So this is definitely a game that's going to be tough for them. I think Aaron Rodgers has a point to prove, and he's proven he can be good in the clutch. So is this a game that I think that the Packers are going to win? I said they're going to win by 21 going to be leading by 21 after the first. Obviously, I was over dramatic. I don't guarantee that's going to happen. Because part of me thinks the Bears are going to stay in this game, and the Bears are going to let the Packers sweat it out a little bit. Because the Packers are sweating right now. They know they can't afford to probably lose to the Bears if they want to catch up to the Vikings. And with the Vikings already beating the Packers, it'll be tough for them to make that comeback. And of course, with the Vikings facing the Bears next week at Soldier, I don't think that might not end too well for the Bears either. So, and the Bears, you'd like them to get this win because you don't want to be 1-6, then have the rest of this week off, and then next Sunday have to play the Vikings at home, which could lead you to 1-7, which really you start eyeing the draft pick. But I think that game last week really has to put a lot of Bear fans in doubt. And also, what I have planned tonight to answer the poll question, I'm going to have obviously the Cubs on the big screen. Excited. And on the computer, I'm doing this. On the computer and the TV are like right by each other. NFL Network I can stream online. So I think I'm going to have it streamed, ready to go, and if anything big happens, just switch to the big TV. But I think, just to keep tabs on it, because obviously we're going to recap it tomorrow. But still, so Bears-Packers tonight, that's at 7:30. So even if you are debating which one to go through, at least you get to see the first inning or two. That game last night was long for the Cubs. So it might be another long night tonight. Thank God I don't do a morning show. Oof. So the Cubs or the Bears, Packers tonight, 7:30. I'm hoping for a Bear win, which would mean I'd lose money. But I'm safe with my bet. I think Packers win tonight. I have the Bears losing. But I haven't been right much so far this year, so why start now? Okay, now let's preview NLCS Game 5 tonight from Chavez Ravine in Dodger Stadium. NLCS Game 5, that's a 7:08 first pitch on Fox Sports 1. Joe Buck and John Smoltz on the call. John Lester tonight. He has not lost yet in the playoffs. He pitched very well, a shutout performance against the Giants in their Game 1 in the NLDS. Then the NLCS began, and he pitched very good against Kenta Maeda. I'm not sure if he gave up anything that night either. So I believe he gave up 2 or 3. I don't know if was he in there when they gave up all them runs, but or was it the bullpen? But anyway, so I think this is a big game. The Cubs have hit righties very good. They've struggled against lefties, and then you got John Lester on the bump with a lefty-powered, a lefty-heavy lineup against Lester, which they've proven they've struggled against. And also the question with Clayton Kershaw. What game do you put him in? I think you put him tonight. The best thing you could do is have him bullpen game if there's a Game 7. So if you pitch him tonight, you have a chance of being 3-2 going back to Chicago. Now, you have a chance of being down 3-2 at Wrigley and having Kershaw pitch. I have this feeling that I think the Cubs are going to get to Clayton Kershaw on Saturday. Because I think they're overthinking the Kershaw thing, and if the Cubs, he's fading, everyone's saying, and then they got Rich Hill if there's a possible Game 7. Well, listen, them weren't the Cubs' bats. If the Cubs' bats continue to hit the way they did last night, it's going to be very dangerous, and I don't know if they're going to. I don't think Kershaw might not even be able to stop these bats, because if they start hitting now, it's going to be dangerous. And I said, watch out Dodgers, and possibly watch out Indians. But I think tonight's game is a big, big, big one, because you don't want to lose, then have to go back to Chicago and have to beat Kershaw. You win tonight, you're guaranteed that series will finish in Chicago no matter what. But you know that there's possible Game 7 to fall back on Jake Arrieta, most likely against Rich Hill. You lose tonight, the season might be over Saturday. But then you beat Kershaw, and you don't know what the heck's happening. So let's hope tonight John Lester continues the way he's been able to pitch, and they get to Kenta Maeda, and things go right, and the Cubs are 1 win away. I hope that will be what I open with tomorrow. If the Cubs can win, I will not start open with hello Chicago. I will open up with 1 win away. And they've been down that road before. They've had a Game 6 at Wrigley Field in the NLCS before. Not going down that road. I'm not touching it. Even though today I said I wasn't going to bring it out, I am wearing my Forgive Bartman shirt today. I'm deleting all the hexes. I don't believe in curses anymore. Everyone wants me to be so damn positive, I'm positive. Go Cubs. Let's get a win tonight. Go Bears. How about a double duty? Oh boy, would that stink up this. I live in Wisconsin. That'd stink them up. Even though they don't care about the Cubs. They care about them losing. And if the Packers lose, what? Oh, that'd be great. Do I expect both? No, I don't expect the Bears to win. But we will see, folks. Enjoy your Thursday. Bears, Packers, Cubs, and the Dodgers. A big, big, big Game 5 heading to Chicago for Saturday. I'm not. The Cubs are. But Big Papa Sean's in for Sunfather Friday tomorrow. Hopefully it's a good one. I'm Ryan Young. Have a great night. Have a great day, Chicago!